What's everybody? Andrew Zimmern here. It's Friday. It's Ask Me Anything. So let's get right to it. I guess I should explain. I am in Lusaka, Zambia right now, sitting in the lovely Taj Hotel's buffet dining room, about to eat dinner. We've just driven in from the Southern District. I've been here on a United Nations World Food Program excursion. It's been an amazing week. More about that in the weeks to come as we begin to celebrate Earth Day and the United Nations World Food Program. Let's get right to it. Ellen from Virginia had a couple questions about my chicken paillard recipe from Wednesday. She said, dried rosemary from last year's garden. Can you tell me how you did that? Yes. I actually, rosemary is a perennial, but I took up half of it because I had so much, clipped it at the base, and hung it upside down to dry in my kitchen for about, I don't know, 3 weeks. And then I just ran my fingers down and just took all of those beautiful rosemary leaves right off the stem. They still had a little bit of moisture in them. It was just incredible. I put them in a ball jar, and they were so fresh despite being dry. They were kind of leathery, and I used it all winter long in all my braised dishes that I use. And I use a lot of rosemary in the wintertime, more than I do in the summer. So it was incredible. I did the same thing with my thyme, and I also made a jar of mixed thyme and rosemary. What kind of little cucumbers are those? Those are Persian cucumbers that are now available in markets everywhere. Ellen, just look for them, ask for them at your supermarket. It's probably the biggest selling new item in the produce section over the last 3 years. Cool knife, what kind? I forget what I was using, but I assume it was Shun or one of my custom made ones. But I'll take a look at the video and let you know. I think I've seen that type of pan on Hell's Kitchen before. What make is it? It's so funny. That is a, hex clad? Someone sent me a bunch of them. I've been using them, just see how they are. I've never cooked with them before. I've only cooked a couple of dishes, but so far, really nice. Anonymous has another recipe about the chicken paillard. Boy, a lot of chicken paillard questions. This is from Burning in Law School. Are there any quick dinner options that you would recommend for a first-year law student living by himself that has like 2 seconds to cook with bare minimum kitchen equipment available? Yes. Select a couple hours a week where you detach and detox from your law studies and cook some things off and put them in your fridge. Make a salad dressing in a jar or a piece of Tupperware, a simple mustard vinaigrette, so that you have that to pour over greens and vegetables. Take some broccoli and cauliflower and just steam it and cool it and put it in, baggies or Tupperware or whatever you happen to store food in. That way you always have vegetables that you can toss them with pasta after you've boiled it and grate cheese on it. You can just flash saute it and have like healthy vegetables in a snack. You can also make a roast, like roast 2 chickens. Do it one night when you're studying. Let the oven do the work. Doesn't take any time at all, and have salt and pepper seasoned roasted chicken, and you can reheat it, you can toss it with noodles, you can cut it up for salads, you can make a sandwich with it. They're moving a lot of chairs here. They're expecting a big table behind me. Maybe it's someone I know. Would this recipe work with chicken thighs? Yes, but chicken thighs have like 6 different muscles, actually. So when you pound it, those muscles are going to separate. And so what happens is that you're going to wind up with a paillard with lots of holes. Whereas the chicken breast really has 2 muscles. Technically it's 3, but one is so small you can't really see it. It basically has the tender and then that big muscle. So when you pound it, the meat can even out. So you can do it with thighs, but be careful. Don't make it too thin. And by the way, just take the bone out of the thigh and crisp it in the pan, cook it on both sides for like 8-9 minutes, and finish it with a little saucy sauce, and you'd be much better off. Jeff writes, ever try a Zweigel's hot dog in Rochester? Does a bear shit in the woods? Come on, buddy. Have I eaten a Zweigel's hot dog? Of course I have. They're amazing. Faction writes, I noticed the Mr. Atlas picture behind you. Oh, that was from the last post. Yeah, that's hanging in my office. Are you a big wrestling fan? I am. From 1970s era wrestling. Haystacks and, Chief J. Strongbow and, Mil Mascaras and Bruno Sammartino and old school. I mean, in the 1970s, Saturday night, we would have wrestling on Channel 9, WOR, would always, 9, would always carry wrestling. And it was from 11 to midnight, and then at midnight was Don Kirshner's rock concert, and then after that was always a Creature Feature, which was always a horror movie, and that was my triple threat, my go-to. And I got wrestling magazines, and I could go on and on about 1970s wrestling, and I have been a fan ever since. I went to the very first WrestleMania in Madison Square Garden. Went to WrestleMania 2, and I go every once in a while, and it's just a lot of fun. Wrestling is fun. And big news yesterday, my buddy Ari Emanuel bought a controlling interest. Endeavor bought a controlling interest in the WWE. Chuck writes, so maybe I'll be going to more matches. Chuck writes, people think I'm weird because I like the following foods: liverwurst, delicious; chicken livers, even more delicious; pate, scrapple, escargot, buttermilk, and pickle juice, all delicious. I even drink pickle juice, but I drink pickle juice from pickles that I've made using lacto fermentation, just like my grandmother did. It kept her healthy until she was 89 years old. Andrew, how would you rate these foods? I'd rate them all amazing. You can't compare pickle juice, escargot, and liverwurst. But I will tell you, there is Newski's liverwurst in my refrigerator 24/7, 365. I never go without it. And I buy liverwurst at Kramarchik's, and I get it sent in from Munkin Foods in Queens. So it's like I'm an all liverwurst all the time guy. Chicken livers, I make my grandmother's chicken livers once a month easily. Pate, love it. Scrapple, love it. Escargot, fantastic. I love snails. Talk about something that Mr. Law School student could keep jars or cans of Helix snails, drain them, rinse them, saute them in garlic butter with lots of parsley, deglaze it with white wine and lots of butter, and put that over angel hair. And I can probably make that meal in 5-6 minutes. As long as it takes the pasta to cook, I can make that meal. From Pete, what's the story with that guitar on your wall? If it was in my office, it's a signed Fender Jazzmaster by Paul McCartney. I bought it at an auction about 12 years ago, and it is a prized possession. I have signed guitars from Buddy Guy, Paul McCartney, Peter Frampton, and I actually own some pretty cool guitars. We may have to do like I did a disc golf in the bag, we may have to do a guitar what's in the vault episode of Ask Me Anything. If you're a guitar player out there, you'll be fascinated. I've got some cool stuff. I even own one of Walter Becker's old guitars. He was one of the guitarists for Steely Dan, who passed away several years ago. Well, there we go. That's Ask Me Anything. Let's hope that I'm able to send this from Zambia back to you guys. Over and out. Speak to you next week.